This is Inside Indiana Business Radio for the afternoon of Monday, August 11th, 2025. I'm Alex Brown. The St. Joseph County Council last month passed an ordinance that says any solar operator would have to compensate homeowners within 1 mile of a solar farm if a home within that radius sells below its market value. South Bend Regional Chamber of Commerce CEO Jeff Ray says he's opposed to the idea because of the precedent it sets for other developments.
I'm fearful that today this works for solar, and tomorrow it will work for any use that somebody finds objectionable. So for example, people aren't loving data centers now. So we say, oh my gosh, the data centers have to meet the same threshold. It sort of opens up kind of a dangerous precedent, I think, from a zoning standpoint.
The ordinance requires further approval from the county's Area Plan Commission. AgriNovus Indiana, the nonprofit focused on the growth of Indiana's ag bioscience sector, announced today that it has selected Christy Wright as its next president and CEO. Wright most recently served as director of global food systems for Indianapolis-based Corteva Agriscience. Target plans to eliminate 201 jobs at its massive distribution center near Indianapolis International Airport. In a notice to the state, Target said it plans to close fulfillment operations at the 1.4 million square foot facility, but noted that most of the affected workers have already taken new positions with the company. From the number one source for Indiana business news, this is Inside Indiana Business Radio.
To succeed, you need to stay informed. You need to be engaged. And let's face it, you need to set yourself apart from the rest by connecting with a company that brings you the best. Because in today's environment, business is an ever-moving target, and we'll help you chase it. IBJ Media. The best of business is in us. Get started at ibjmedia.com/youngprofessional.
The Evansville City Council is expected to introduce a proposed municipal wheel tax ordinance to raise money for road repairs. Here's Gary Dick.
Evansville says it is projected to lose millions of dollars in property tax revenue due to changes in state law following the passage earlier this year of Senate Enrolled Act 1. Meanwhile, another new law, House Enrolled Act 1461, requires cities to adopt a wheel tax in order to qualify for a new state funding stream for local roads. Under the proposal, the owner of a passenger vehicle would pay $25 a year. A motorcycle owner would pay $15 per year, and the owner of a heavy truck would pay $35 a year. The tax is estimated to raise about $2.7 million per year, the city said, which would be legally restricted to improvements such as street resurfacing, sidewalk upgrades, and curb work. Many local governments are expected to turn to the new tax initiatives following the passage of Senate Bill 1, which is projected to save homeowners about $1.2 billion over 3 years in property taxes, but cost local units of government $1.5 billion in tax revenues. Evansville has had about $3 million available annually for street repairs and resurfacing, but even with additional state funds, the amount has been well short of the $12 million the city says is needed annually to keep roads from further deteriorating. The proposed ordinance is expected to be introduced at tonight's city council meeting and reviewed in the coming weeks. This is Gary Dick for Inside Indiana Business Radio.
Ford Motor Company will invest nearly $2 billion retooling a Kentucky factory to produce electric vehicles that it says will be more affordable, more profitable to build, and will outcompete rival models. The automaker's top executive unveiled the new EV strategy today at Ford's Louisville assembly plant, which, after producing gas-powered vehicles for 70 years, will be converted to manufacture electric vehicles. Ford said its investment in the Louisville plant will secure 2,200 hourly jobs. The plant currently employs about 3,300 people, according to the company's website. After some revisions to the site and financing structure, construction is now underway on a youth sports complex that could serve as an economic catalyst for the city of New Haven in Allen County. City officials and developers with Noblesville-based Card & Associates on Friday celebrated a groundbreaking on the $31 million project that will bring a major field house with indoor basketball courts and indoor fields to the corridor near Interstate 469. Vice President of Real Estate Dan Connors said plans changed when the state legislature passed Senate Enrolled Act 1 earlier this year, which caused financing changes for the project.
Senate Bill 1 would have an impact on the trajectory of the project, but Hurdles are nothing new in the development community, and long-term, complicated public-private partnerships like this project is. Big dreams come with big problems, and so as always, we're intentionally looking for alternative paths throughout every project, whether they're going bad or if we have a good line of sight on what the hurdles might be.
Officials are hopeful the complex will be ready to host tournaments by September 2026. TV news anchor turned entrepreneur Nicole Pence-Becker is this week's guest on the Business and Beyond podcast with Gary Dick, presented by PNC, a weekly conversation with high-profile Hoosiers in business, sports and entertainment, and beyond. Available now on the IBJ Media app or your favorite podcast provider. I'm Alex Brown for Inside Indiana Business Radio On Demand. Stay ahead with Inside Indiana Business Radio On Demand, your go-to source for the latest business news across the Hoosier State. Join hosts Gary Dick and Alex Brown every weekday morning and afternoon for concise updates on Indiana's top business stories. Subscribe now on your favorite podcast app or listen at ibjpodcasts.com.